What's going on, everyone? Justin here with Trading Cards and More, back with another video. Today we got a special video. I decided to sell my 2013 Panini Golden Age autographed or signatures set. There's 50 cards in the set. It's a pretty amazing set. Took me over a year, probably closer to 2, to complete this 50 card set. Reason being, some of these cards were very hard to get a hold of. Day after day searching on eBay and just finding these cards for sale was definitely hard. A lot of them are easier to come by, but there's a handful of them that are really hard to get a hold of, and it was just really rewarding to finally put this 50 card set together. I'll show you guys the website on the screen here. Alright guys, so here's how I found the set right here. Panini Golden Age Signature Set. There's a website called Cardboard Connection. If you click on that link, it's going to bring you to their page where they actually list all 50 cards. They have pictures of each card. Now notice that some of these do not have a picture of that card, but they have a picture of the redemption card. So the way this worked is you would pull one of these redemption cards in a pack of cards, and you would have to send off for it, and then they would then ship it to you in the mail. Here are the cards that have redemptions. You had Angel Cordero, Carl Eller, Fred Biletnikoff, Jerry Lewis, Stan Lee, and Thomas Hearns. Now if we click on the image, we can see that it expired in 2014. What that means is if you were to pull this card nowadays, you wouldn't be able to send off and get that card because it's no longer redeemable. But yeah, I went through this list and was able to get all 50, put the set together. It took me about 1 to 2 years. So we're going to go through each individual card and tell you a little bit about each one, and let's get into it. So starting with the first card, we have Al Kaline, Hall of Famer, baseball player. I actually have his autograph on a baseball. But what's really cool about these cards is just the layout. It's like antique looking. You got the player's name on the bottom. You have the on-card autograph, which I really like, in the blue pen for most of them. And then it says Historic Signatures, Panini Golden Age. Really, really cool cards. And then on the back it tells you kind of a little bit about each person. Hittinger was 18-time All-Star, swung the bat with precision, and 9 seasons with an average of at least 300 batting average, so really cool there. And I do have these in order alphabetically based on the first name. Angel Cordero right there. I'll kind of show you the fronts and backs of each one of these cards so you can see the condition and everything. They are basically all packed fresh. There are a little bit of edging and corner issues on some of them. That's just the way they came out of the packs. So this guy was a jockey, and he claimed 13 races at the spa, including astounding 2 in a row. He was inducted in the Horse Racing Hall of Fame in 1988, so very cool. Next one is Barry Livingston, and I just love these on-card autographs. They're very cool. He was a child to adult actor. He was in The Social Network and Zodiac, along with guest spots on Mad Men and 2.5 Men. So, Barry Livingston. Next one is Barry Switzer. Looks like an announcer of some sort. And he was a College Football Hall of Fame inductee in 2002. He spends his time running Switzer Family Vineyards and working an analyst on Fox football broadcasts. And it says some more up here, but I just kind of skipped the top part there. Barry Williams, he was on the Brady Bunch. I'm sure you recognize him. He was a teen heartthrob as Greg Brady from 1969 to 74. Johnny Bravo in 1992. He wrote the New York Times bestseller Growing Up Brady, so wrote a book as well. Here we got Bobby Hull, Blackhawks Hall of Famer, pretty famous. If you're from the Chicago area, I'm not too far from there. You know who this guy is. He was the Golden Jet, ultimate showman. Led the league in goals 7 times and 10 times named the game's premier left wing. Inducted in 1983 into the Hall of Fame. Next we got Bo Derek. Who doesn't remember her? Let's read the back here. Her role as Jenny Hanley in the 1979 film 10 touched off a career that included starring roles as Tarzan, The Ape Man, Tommy Boy, and Fashion House. Now working primarily on the other side of the lens, her work has appeared in album covers and magazines such as Vanity Fair. So, Bo Derek, famous movie 10. Next we got Bob Watson, baseball player. There was $10,000 and a million Tootsie Rolls on the line for the player who tallied the millionth run. The ball sailed off Milt May's bat, and Watson raced his way into the history. His shoes ended up in the Hall of Fame. Huh, interesting. Bob Watson. Next, we got Bobby Richardson, another baseball player. Richardson's stellar play earned him MVP honors, making him the first and only player from a losing team to win the award. Wow. The first and only person from the winning team to actually win an MVP. That's pretty crazy. Bobby Richardson. Next, we got Brooke Robinson. Who doesn't remember him? He was the sixth local baseball legend to be honored with larger-than-life statue in Baltimore's ballpark. Two-time world champion and 19-time All-Star. His 1964 MVP season and his crowning achievement. 162 games, day in, day out, and being able to say I was voted the most valuable player in the league. Wow, very cool. Brooks Robinson. Next, we have Carl Feller, football player this time. That's what I like about this set. There's different sports, there's actors, actresses, all kinds of cool stuff here. He became a force for the Minnesota Advance line and known as the Purple People Eaters. Wow. Won 10 division titles in a 2-year span with a defensive end. 7-time All-Pro. Eller was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2004. Very, very cool. Next we have Carlton Fisk. He was a catcher. Athlete hewn from the granite slate, Fisk was the first unanimous choice as Rookie of the Year. He went on to appear in 2 All-Star games, a set then record for the games caught, and home runs by a catcher. Wow, very cool. Next we have Curly Neal, basketball player. He was for the Globetrotters, I do believe. He's the best known and most beloved player to wear the skill of the Harlem Globetrotters. Most famous routines, the floor-length baseball side dribble. He continued to work on new dribbling routines over the course of 6,000 plus games. He retired after 22 seasons in 1985. Very cool. Next we got Darrell Waltrip. Nice card. He won 57 races and captured the Winston Cup Championship in the 1980s, making him the decade's most dominant driver. They threw chicken bones and beer cans at me, he said. His life and relationships with the public changed after a terrible crash at the 1983 Daytona 500. Wow. That sucks, but very cool. Next we got David Pollock. This is one of the Bad News Bears cards. There's multiple Bad News Bears cards in this set, so very cool if you like that classic movie. One of 4 actors that appeared in the 3 films, Pollock was a Little League vet, but said Stein's soft delivery wasn't acting. I was a really bad pitcher, he said, retiring from acting. He held several elected offices in California. Wow. Alright, another Bad News Bears. David Stomberg. Hopefully I pronounced that correct. Imagine being 11 years old and someone says, would you like to spend 3 months in California playing ball and get paid for it? Stomberg appeared in 2 sequels before becoming a minister in the United States Methodist Church. Very interesting. Next we have Dick Smothers, one of the Smothers brothers. Who doesn't remember them? An auto racer on the amateur and professional ranks in 68 to 78. He was a true motorhead. He later founded the Smothers Brothers Winery, which earned Best in Show honors at the fair in 1978. Very cool. Next we got Donna Douglas. She was a famous actress. 1957 Miss May New Orleans pageant winner. She's most remembered for her work on the Beverly Hillbillies, where she played Ellie Mae, the tomboy whose looks rivaled those of pinup girls. So, yeah, Donna Douglas. Next we have Earl Campbell, and this was one of the hardest cards to get. For the longest time I could not find a copy of this for sale. And there was one seller that wanted like $500 for the card. There was no way I was going to pay that. And this card came up at auction, and I won it, and was pretty excited. I think this one completed my set. So, the shortest route between a point A and B is a straight line. Perhaps Campbell always had that thought in the back of his mind whenever his quarterback put the ball in his hands, even if it would be a tackler stood in his path. The hard-charging Campbell didn't mind going through him rather than around him. We all know who won the battles. Wow, so pretty remarkable. Next one we have here is Ed Kranepool. Making his debut at the age of 17 in 1962, Kranepool spent his first 2 seasons splitting time before locking down the first base job, a spot he would hold for the remainder of his 18-year career that included World Series in 1969. Very cool. Next we have another Bad News Bears, Aaron Blunt. The youngster is a massive Hank Aaron fan who really gets work up after committing errors in the outfield. Next we have Evie Plum, and this is another Brady Bunch character, so very cool. Plum was a key part of the show, which aimed from 1967 to 74, featured 117 episodes. Viewers could feel for Jan as she dealt with life in funny ways and a middle child among 6 Brady kids. So middle child on the Brady Bunch. Next we have a Fred Biletnikoff. Sure I mispronounced that, but another football player. He was a gold standard for receivers during the 1960s and 70s, a master of the acrobatic catch. He was named Super Bowl 11 MVP when he pulled in 4 receptions and 79 yards, 32-14 defeat of Minnesota. 4-time Pro Bowl section. He was inducted in the Pro Bowl Football Hall of Fame in 1988. Very cool. Next we have another Bad News Bears, Gary Lee Cavanero, a chubby catcher, Egelberg, who ate candy bars during practice. He was part of a wild bunch of kids who comprised the Bad News Bears Little League team in the 1976 film, so another Bad News Bears guy. Hey, it's the Fonz, Henry Winkler. He was a Fonz, always a Fonz. Winkler made Happy Days Fonzie character as memorable as any television history, but his career carried on in movies like Night Shift and The Waterboy. Very cool, yeah. Another Bad News Bears, we have Jackie Early Haley. These names are really hard to pronounce here. Among the players recruited for the team, Kelly Leak, so-called best athlete in the area. Haley put on a memorable performance as a motorcycle-riding troublemaker. In 2006, he was nominated for an Oscar for his role in Little Chicken. Next, we have our first golfer, Jan Stevenson. After capturing Rookie of the Year honors in 1974, Stevenson went on to earn 31 worldwide victories, including 8 worldwide major championships. She currently plays on the Legends Tour, where she has collected 6 career wins. She's also the first woman to win a championship on 5 continents. Very cool. And this set came out in 2013, so obviously it was like 7 years ago. But alright, next we have one of the best cards in the set, and also, he is no longer with us, Jerry Lewis. Who remembers his acting, guys? In comedy, Dean Martin on stages are flaunting his timeless comedic skills in movies like Cinderfella and The Ladies' Man. Even with all the work, Lewis still made time for humanitarian work, serving as the national chairman for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. So yeah, great comedian of his time, and sad to see that he passed away. Next we have Jim Kick. Looks like he played for the Dolphins, and Kick was a key member of the 1972 Dolphins and the last NFL team to author an unbeaten season. In 1969, he led the AFL with 9 rushing touchdowns. A year later, his 42 receptions and 1,155 all-purpose yards were tops of the team. He earned 2 Pro Bowl invites to go along with his victories, Super Bowl 7 and 8. Very cool. Next we have Laffit Pinkay. Dedication to success demanded great personal sacrifice. Battling to stay at weight, he exercised religiously and substituted on a diet of 850 calories a day. His efforts paid off with a milestone on December 10, 1999, when he broke Willie Shoemaker's record of career victories. He retired in 2003 with 9,535 wins, or 31 wins, and a spot in the Hall of Fame. That's crazy. Next we have another football player, Lem Barney, Hall of Famer 92. Nice little auto on that one. Stepped in front of the first pass thrown his way by Bart Starr and returned in 24 yards. Later in his rookie season, he picked off for the passes in one quarter against the Vikings. It made for an auspicious start to a career that saw Barney appear in 7 Pro Bowls and set multiple franchise marks. Very cool, Hall of Famer. I think everybody knows who this guy is. Mario Andretti. The term Andretti curse has become familiar with Indy 500 fans. Racing family never felt unlucky. My career, it's something people dream about. Fortunate IndyCar champ told Car and Driver. And to be spared major injury. Am I lucky or what? Only driver to win an Indy 500, Daytona 500, and the Formula One World Championship, and to win IndyCar races in 4 decades. That is a long career. Next we have Max Baer Jr. And this is a first card I pulled out of this set. and that's what got me started on collecting the set. So,
in a household where boxing was king, his dad having held title of the World Heavyweight Championship in the 30s, he managed to find his way into the spotlight in the entertainment business, hitting it big as Jethro Bodine on the television The Beverly Hillbillies, so another Beverly Hillbillies character. Next, we have Penny Marshall. Portrayed on the sitcom Laverne and Shirley, a role that made her a household name. She could play a funny and tough Brooklyn native, although she seemed to even be more comfortable behind the scenes. A big sports fan who is a regular at Laker games, Marshall spotlighted women in pro basketball, directing 1992's A League of Their Own. So she was a director of the classic movie League of Their Own. Next, we have Ralph Terry. Looks like another baseball player here. The pitcher was on the wrong side of the Bill Mazeroski's famous title-clinching home run in Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. Claim to fame goes way behind that. He was a two-time World Series champ with New York, including MVP of the 1962 series. He became a pro golfer after his big league days were done. Wow, so after playing baseball, he became a pro golfer. That's crazy. Next, we have Red Schoendienst. I'm sure I butchered that name, but... In 1960, of his 18-month battle with tuberculosis at 37, the Milwaukee second sacker made a remarkable comeback, displaying what Stan Musial called the greatest hands I've ever seen. Won 5 championships over his Hall of Fame career and continues to impact the game as an assistant coach in St. Louis. That's crazy. Next, we have Ron Cey. The Los Angeles third baseman came to be known as the Penguin because of the way he waddled when he jogged. The 1981 World Series co-MVP did plenty of jogging around the bases, clubbing more than 20 homers 7 times in 12 seasons in Southern California. Very cool. Next, we have Ron Swoboda. The entire landscape of the series could have been entered in the Swoboda's stellar catch on a Brooks Robinson line drive in the 9th inning of Game 2 that stalled a Baltimore rally and allowed New York to post a 2-1 win in extra innings. Very cool. Next, we have Sam McDowell. The arm was a gift from the gods, a weapon that left hitters checking their hole in their bats like some sad sack in the Bugs Bunny cartoon. With it, he rang up 4 of the 5 best single-season strikeout totals in Cleveland history, forever establishing his place in the city's firmament of stars. I don't know what that word is. Okay, probably the best card in the set, and he unfortunately recently passed away. Mr. Stan Lee. I think everybody knows who this guy is. He actually signed this card in a black marker instead of a blue one. And this card actually came from Panini. I believe it was a redemption card, so you had to send in for it, and then Panini would send it to you. That's why it has this Panini sticker on it. So it's been sealed since I got it, and I haven't taken it out of the case. The center of the comic book boom in the 1950s was Lee and his superheroes who suffered from character flaws, a change from the idealist industry predators, and an immediate hit with readers nationwide. From his Fantastic Four, Iron Man, X-Men, and immensely popular Spider-Man, few have helped define the landscape of popular culture since World War II, like the visionary leader of Marvel Comics. So this is the man behind it all right here, Stan Lee. Like I said, he unfortunately passed away, but he lived a pretty long life, and he's loved by many. And this card is the most valuable card in the set, so really, really nice card. Next, we have Stanley Livingston. Probably best known as Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy, brought Livingston a Dewey Weber surfboard for his 13th birthday. I was blown away by that, Livingston said. Next, we have Steve Cawthon. $6 Million Man, Cawthon was all that more, a racing prodigy who was named Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated in 1977, became the youngest ever to win the Triple Crown when he rode affirmed into history in 1978. He retired in 91 with 2,794 wins, paving the way for his induction into the National Museum of Horse Racing Hall of Fame in 1994. Very cool. Next, we have Steve Stone, and if you watch baseball or listen to baseball, especially in the 90s, you know who this guy is. One of baseball's top analysts over the past 30 years, Stone spent 10 years in the majors, highlighted by a 25-7 season in Baltimore that earned him the 1980 Cy Young Award. He retired a year later and moved into the broadcast booth at WGN alongside Harry Carey in 1983, where he became a fan favorite for his straight-shooting approach. His 1999 book, Where's Harry?, shares his best stories from those days. Very cool. Steve Stone. Next, we have another pretty nice card in the set, Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard's success brought in the appeal of boxing in the 1980s. Even people who didn't like boxing liked to watch Sugar Ray, said ESPN analyst Larry Burnett. His world-beating talent and desire, a gold medalist in Montreal, he went on to win titles in different weight classes. He later appeared in Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard. Next we have Tatum O'Neal, another Bad News Bears card. Might look like a boy, but that's actually a female. For an actress who has nothing to do with sports, O'Neal sure had a lot to do with American sports culture. The youngest individual ever to win an Academy Award, she was only 10 years when she accepted the 1974 Oscar for Best Supporting Actress after starring in Paper Moon. O'Neal played Amanda Wurlitzer in 1976 classic The Bad News Bears. She later married tennis star John McEnroe. Not sure how to pronounce that name. Next we have Ted Simmons. He bashed more hits and doubles than any Hall of Fame backstop, and he is second only to Johnny Bench in career RBI and second to Ivan Rodriguez. Simmons caught 122 shutouts during his career, including no-hitters thrown by Bob Gibson and Bob Forsch in St. Louis. So, a really good catcher. Next, we have another famous boxer, Thomas Hearns. 7-time world champion. Veteran of the most devastating punches in history, he seemed like an indestructible machine to me, said Sugar Ray Leonard. He took full advantage of his leaky frame and pack on muscle and became the first to capture belts in 4 weight classes: welterweight, junior middleweight, and light heavyweight. He now works as a fight promoter. Very cool. Thomas Hearns. One of the last few cards here, we got Tommy Davis. For 2 years, Tommy was the best hitter in baseball, said Sandy Koufax. He just didn't get the recognition. He was part of the team that had a lot of good parts to it. If anyone knew the spot good hitters, it was Koufax. So he knew that what he was talking about. Davis chalked up back-to-back league batting crowns with LA in 1962 and 63. Next, we have the other Smother brothers, Tommy Smothers. This is what I knew him for. He was never much of the yo-yo as a child, which is odd considering most famous character in Yo-Yo Man, the musical comedy duo, heard song about traveling yo-yo demonstrator and worked it into his act. Before long, yo-yo championships would come up and offer lessons. I'm about 12 handicapped, but no one else is doing yo-yo in the stage. I look like I'm a scratch yo-yo player, he said. Yeah, very, very cool. Last but not least, we have Yogi Berra. This is a hard card to get as well. So some of these cards, you won't even be able to find them for sale. They're just hard to find. Playing a rundown Douglas ballpark that he adopted his crossed arms, crossed legs sitting style that reminded teammate Bobby Hoffman of Hindu yogi pose, and the name stuck. Very cool. So that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Very, very cool set. I really enjoyed putting this set together. It took me, like I said, between 1 year and 2 years to put this all together because some of these cards were very, very hard to locate and get a hold of. I do have these up for sale on the eBay store. I'll have a direct link in the description if you guys want to check it out. I'm in no rush to sell these cards, but I want to pass them on to somebody else that will enjoy this collection as much as I have. Once again, let me know what you thought of the video. I'll definitely be doing more collections and stuff like that, putting them together and putting them up for sale. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. If I do end up selling it, I'll let you guys know in a future video. It's just a very cool set. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.